So it failed. Now my project will be delayed. But what can I do? I cannot know the future.
Actually, there is a way to look into your project future. It's called risk management. Risk management is a process that we perform on a daily basis. It consists of three main parts: risk identification, assessment, and control. Consider the following example. Imagine that you are walking in a hospital corridor and suddenly you see an electrical cable on the floor. Here you have identified a risk. You stop and think about the situation. Many people use this corridor, so there is a big chance someone will fall and injure him or herself. You need to do something about it. This is risk assessment. You go and talk to the man using the electrical cable, explaining to him the hazards of leaving it there in the hallway, and ask him to remove the cable or tape it to the ground securely. This is risk control. In that example, you saw into the future, the possibility that someone might fall over, and you did something to prevent it. Likewise, we could have anticipated that the crane might fail and prevented its failure in different ways, like, say, maintenance. In this example, we went through a full cycle of risk management. We identified, assessed, and controlled the risk. Now let's examine these processes in greater detail. Risk identification is when we try to anticipate the future and think of possible events that can happen in our project and affect it in a negative way. In the project book, I explained two of the most important tools used to identify the largest amount of risk: brainstorming and the review of other planning templates. When identifying risks, make sure you invite experts in the technical field of the project, since they can uncover different risks they have learned from experience. Also, during risk identification, focus on generating a large number of ideas by encouraging people to participate. You don't need to assess their contribution at this stage. When you finish risk identification, you will generate a list that contains many possible risks that can happen during your project's life cycle. Chances are you will generate a long list of possible risks. But projects have limited resources, so we need to select the risks that are more critical from the list. After all, some risks are so small that they might not need our attention at all. Now we will start with risk assessment. But first, we need to understand the following 2 points. First, the risk formula. Basically, it says that risk depends on 2 factors: the chance of the event happening and its severity. So in the first example, the risk of a person tripping on the electrical cable is a combination of the chance that someone will walk in the corridor and trip on the cable and how big the injury will be. The formula will help you see basic components of risk and thus understand them and be more confident and objective when analyzing them. The second point you need to understand is the risk matrix. It's a tool designed to help you calculate the risk formula easily. It is basically a table where the chance that the risk will happen is indicated on one axis and the severity of the event is found on the other. The cells of the table represent the score of the risk, which you can define in many different ways. There are many different shapes of risk matrices, as discussed in the project book. So putting risk assessment into practice, let's rank the risk of the crane failure. We should ask 2 questions. First, what is the likelihood that the crane will fail? This will depend on the quality of the crane, how many times it failed in the past, and in what condition it is kept. So if it is fairly new and well maintained, the chance will be low. The second question is, if the crane fails, what effect will it have on the project? Well, this depends on the importance of the tasks which need to be done using the crane. So if we have a construction project with many lifting activities, we can rank the severity as high because many tasks will not be done if it fails. Important: risk management in projects will most likely demand the use of resources and may consume some of the project budget. We don't want to respond to risks that are highly unlikely to happen or have very small effects, so make sure you conduct proper risk ranking. This can be accomplished by justifying why you have given a particular score to a specific risk component. This will differentiate risk management from just arbitrary guessing. After risk assessment, we can rewrite our list of ranked risks and start looking for ways to control them. Controlling risks should be a fun exercise because you have the opportunity to be creative and select among different tools to control risks. There are 4 main tools for risk control. Can we eliminate the risk? We can do so by making it impossible to happen or ensuring that it will have no effect on the project. We can also opt to reduce the risk by decreasing its chance of happening or its severity. We can also transfer risks to others who can better deal with it for a fee. Or we can just accept the risk if we know we can do nothing about it. In the project book, I have given different examples of how we can select and apply these techniques. Selecting a controlling strategy will depend on many factors, like the score of the risk, the importance of the project, and our ability to actually implement the control option. Okay, enough with the negative things for now. Life is fair, and if you must expect risks to be present in your project, you can also expect some opportunities. Opportunities are unexpected good things that can happen to your project. One would be finishing some tasks earlier than planned and reducing the cost of performing others. Similar, but opposite to identifying risks, project managers should also be able to identify opportunities, rank them, and try to get them to happen as much as possible. Risk management is a beautiful thing. It can act as a magnet and pull the different components of your project together, so make sure you apply it in your projects.